First things first, I'm not 100% sure how to correctly say the name of our current target of criticism. I have it on good authority that the name is supposed to be pronounced Reus, with an emphasis on the rolling of the R, but since I'm an American and we tend to butcher things, I'll just call it Reus and uphold that grand tradition. Reus is a game where you command giants that have godlike abilities to shape the planet's surface and bring to life what was once a desolate wasteland. You'll control 4 of these giants, each having different abilities and features. The rock giant can create mountains, deserts, and mineral deposits. The ocean giant can, you guessed it, create oceans as well as place animals. The forest giant makes forest and food-producing foliage. And the swamp monster can create large marshes and special technology-producing plants. You'll use these powerful abilities you've been given to provide for your people and fulfill certain requirements to unlock new plants, animals, and abilities for your giants. It's a fairly easy to understand system once you've played through the tutorial, but don't go thinking that it's a particularly easy game. While many God games let you take a nice and relaxing approach to their gameplay, Reus can sometimes get rather hectic and force you to do quite a bit of quick thinking to reach your goals. With the exception of free play mode, each game session has a limited time to adhere to, so you'll need to use your time very wisely. You do have the ability to pause the game and give orders to your giants, which is very helpful, but Reus still isn't what I'd call a walk in the park. Now, it's actually kind of a fallacy to directly compare Reus to the traditional God game, but it's impossible to deny it's part of the genre as well. Although I'm not the biggest fan of trying to shoehorn a game into a genre, I'll do my best to describe the overall design of Reus by saying that it's like Civilization meets Populous meets an RTS. It's resource management, city management, and unit strategy all rolled into one. Now, I usually go and put what I like about a game at the start of the review and my dislikes at the end, but I'm feeling experimental today, so let's go ahead and switch that around. So without further ado, here are some things I felt like Reus could have improved and still might actually get implemented in the game's future updates. First off, there's no clear way to restart your current challenge or era. You have to quit out to the main menu and start a new game if you wish to restart mid-game. Since you'll have to spend a lot of time moving your view around the world to see the action, it would be nice if the camera would have auto-scrolled when you moved your mouse cursor to the edge of the screen. Currently, it does not. There also doesn't appear to be a confirm action button when giving the giants commands, otherwise the gameplay would be completely functional using just the keyboard without the mouse. There doesn't appear to be a way to customize your key bindings or controls either, and that would have been a welcome addition. Alright, let's go ahead and keep the bitching train going. It's sometimes hard to know exactly what the difference is between your giants' abilities. For instance, 2 giants might have the power to both spawn plants, but these plants have very different effects on the world. You'll learn the difference between all these abilities as you play, but starting off it can be a tad confusing to the new player. You can't click through the tutorial text or have instant actions take place when the game is paused. I imagine this is actually a technical issue requiring a frame to be processed in order for the events to actually happen, but it still makes people slightly confused whenever they can't click next on a pop-up window when the game is paused. Alright, last one, I promise. Beneath each patch of land there is a display of the resources that patch is currently supplying. The problem with this is that when the camera is set to a comfortable viewing level, the information is usually covered up by a giant's UI or some other piece of HUD. Most of these complaints are really minor enough not to be really considered official complaints, but more of wish list items. Now we've arrived at the happy time section of the review. The camera is very fluid, has a good float, and I really liked how it would raise and lower with the contours of the land as you moved across them. It's a very nice touch. The game has a nice level of charm without being too cutesy to put off the more core audience. The giants are adorable in their own special way, and the art style lends a certain cartoonish charm to the aesthetic. I also love how the game is very simple, yet even the smallest change in the game world can have rather large repercussions. For instance, it's very easy to have a giant place a new animal nest. In fact, it's only 2 clicks. But the newly placed nest could be replacing a mine that the town is using for their wealth, but provide a bonus to neighboring patches, while also creating enough greed in a nearby town, making them go to war. It's a game all about not only providing resources, but also creating a balanced ecosystem in the game. The game treads the line between complexity and simplicity and traverses this space rather skillfully. Reus, however it's supposed to be said, it's a pleasant romp through the indie game landscape and is worth your time as well as the $10 you'll drop for it on various PC distribution platforms. The good folks at Abbey Games have made a well-crafted experience for their first major commercial release, and I can't wait to see what they'll do with future updates to the game, as well as any future endeavors they have on the radar. The game's not perfect, but it is well worth the price of admission. Reus gets a 4.5 out of 5.